Previously on The Collected.
Sigrun came through the door. She looked at the maps on the walls with genuine attention, not the performed attention of someone being polite, but the focused inventory she brought to everything. She was building the record before she said a word. She said, "The Mongolia River." Thomas said. He was doing something precise and didn't look up. "I know that river. I'd imagine you know most of them." She moved behind him and looked at the map on the drafting table, at the coastline he was rendering with a patience and precision that had nothing to do with the commission and everything to do with who he was.
Episode 9. The Pines at the Edge of Harlow. The trail into the Harlow Pines had a sign at the entrance that said "Daylight Hours Only," and below that, in smaller letters that someone had added with a marker years after the sign was installed, "This means you." Everybody in Harlow knew about the Pines, not the specific thing. Most people didn't believe in the specific thing, but the feeling of them, the way the air changed inside the tree line, the way sound worked differently in there, dampened and close. Hikers came out disoriented. Dogs refused to go past the first quarter mile. The ranger who maintained the trail had put in for a transfer 3 times in 5 years and never said exactly why. Claire Bowman was 29, and she had been on the trail for 4 hours, and she had been lost for 2 of them. She was not the kind of person who got lost. She had a trail map, a compass, and 7 years of weekend hiking behind her. She had told her husband she'd be back by 4. It was now almost 6, and the light was going, and her compass had been doing something it had never done before, spinning slowly, purposelessly, like it had forgotten what it was for. She was cold, she was tired, and the pines around her had been getting closer for the last half hour in a way that she knew was not possible and was happening anyway. She stopped at a small clearing and sat on a fallen log and made herself breathe. That was when she saw the woman. Hell stood at the far edge of the clearing. She was not doing anything, she was simply there, and her being there changed the clearing the way a stone changes the water around it, fundamentally, completely, the ripples going outward in every direction. The trees at the edge of the clearing leaned fractionally away from her. The last of the evening light, filtering gray through the canopy, pooled around her feet rather than falling on her. One side of her face was pale as stripped bark. The other was deep and dark and looked like something the forest had grown rather than someone who had walked into it. She was looking at Claire. Claire stood up slowly. Every animal instinct she had was telling her something she did not have language for. Not running exactly, but something older than running, something that preceded the decision to flee by several seconds and lived below thought entirely. "You're lost," Hell said. It was not a question. Yes," Claire kept her voice level, steady, the voice she used when she was frightened and didn't want to be. "My compass stopped working." "Yes." Did you do that?" Hell considered this. "Something in these woods did. I am here because of it." Claire looked around the clearing. The trees were very close. The light was nearly gone. "What something?" "Something old," Hell said. "Something that loved this place too long and forgot what loving something was supposed to mean. It has been stopping things." She paused. "It stopped your compass. It has been turning you in circles for 2 hours." "Why?" "Because stopping things is what it knows how to do. It confused keeping with having. It confused holding on with love."
She looked at Claire with those flat, deep eyes. "You were doing the same to you." Claire stared at her. "Was?" "I spoke to it," Hell said simply. "I showed it the door. It's been here too long, and it was ready underneath everything, even if it didn't know it." A pause. "Most things are." The clearing felt different. Claire realized it slowly. The closeness of the trees had eased. The air was just air again. The particular pressured listening quality of the last 2 hours had lifted, like a sound you didn't know you were hearing until it stopped. She looked at her compass. The needle was still. Then it swung, found north, held. She let out a breath. "What are you?" she asked. She asked it the way Thomas Aldrich accepted his glasses case, directly, without looking away from the thing in front of her. Hell looked at her for a long moment. "I am the one who was here before the pines. I will be here after them. Everything in between is mine to tend." She tilted her head slightly. "You are not." "Not yet," Claire said. She wasn't sure why she said it. "Not yet," Hal agreed. Something moved in her expression, deep and brief, and not quite what you'd call warmth, but something in the same family. The trail runs northeast from this clearing, 20 minutes to the parking lot. Your husband has been calling the ranger station for 45 minutes. Claire looked northeast. She couldn't see the trail from here, but she believed it was there. She wasn't entirely sure why she believed it, except that you believed hell the way you believed gravity. She looked back at the clearing. Hell was gone. The pines stood in their rows, dark and ordinary, holding their old silence, keeping nothing that wasn't theirs to keep anymore. Claire walked northeast. 22 minutes later, she was at the parking lot, her husband's headlights cutting through the dark, the sound of his car door and his voice saying her name, and then his arms around her, warm and solid and real. She didn't tell him about the clearing. She looked back at the tree line once from the parking lot in the dark. Just trees. Just the ordinary mystery of a place that didn't get enough sun. She got in the car.
On the next episode of The Collected. He was on the floor of that gym at 11 p.m. on a Thursday, alone, with a brain bleed that had started quietly and was no longer being quiet. He had felt it the way you feel weather, a pressure, a wrongness, the world tilting. He'd made it to the floor before his legs stopped. His phone was on the bench above him, unreachable. He focused on the ceiling. Water stain in the corner. He'd been meaning to fix that for 3 years. Hell arrived first. She came up through the floor, not through it, up from below it, as if she had been just beneath the surface of everything for some time. The gym changed around her immediately, temperature dropping, the fluorescent lights flickering and then burning dimmer, their light pushed back into a smaller radius. The equipment threw shadows that went wrong directions. She stood in the center of the gym and looked at Denny, and her presence filled the space completely, the way water fills a container, finding every corner. Sigrun came in through the door. She had a key. She hadn't had it a moment ago. She came in fast and stopped when she saw Hell, and her jaw set. Please like and subscribe.